Yeah, well, it's a good question. Hindsight's a beautiful thing, and I guess the strategy worked for us last night. Ashton Turner was able to bowl his four allotted overs as well, so that meant that we got 12 overs of spin. It's definitely something that I think's been considered, and given we had success with it last night, maybe something that we could have done earlier, but it also different game scenarios. Can bring different results. So, like I said, hindsight's a beautiful thing. You never know what the results would have been in those games if we did play the extra overs of spin. So it just seemed to work for us last night, and potentially maybe something we'll do going forward.
Lockie McCurdy.
Thanks, Cole. Hey, Mitchell. Obviously, congratulations on the result last night and taking those few wickets. Has it been hard kind of biding your time, sitting in the wings, waiting for that opportunity? And what have you kind of been doing, I guess, waiting to get that opportunity against Bangladesh and I guess against the West Indies as well?
Yeah, well, look, it's always tough. You always want to be playing, but in the same breath, it's great to be a part of this group, and great to be on this tour to begin with. But yeah, it's definitely tough. Sitting on the sidelines and really wanting to get out there, and I was glad that I got an opportunity last night to get out there and play, and obviously played the one game in St Lucia as well. So I've had a couple of opportunities now, and it's definitely a lot funner than running drinks, that's for sure. So, but yeah, I guess in the background, it's just about being ready and staying ready and training hard, working on the skills and trying to adapt to what the wickets are doing in the places that we go to. So, I've been doing a lot of work on some spinning wickets in the nets here, and trying to work out how I would bowl if I got the opportunity. And luckily enough, that obviously that strategy that I came up with over the last sort of week being here and training in the nets has paid off, and I was able to execute when I went out there and executed those plans.
Do you see a scenario where I guess there could be three spinners in the team? Obviously, Ashton and Adam have been doing a great job. Do you see a way where you could complement and all three spinners could be picked at the same time?
I definitely think it's something that that should be considered, especially somewhere like here in Bangladesh. We've seen the conditions. We've seen them play, three spinners and bowl a lot of spin overs. So it's a tactic that's worked for them on this wicket and in these conditions. So certainly something that I might be a little bit biased here, but certainly something that I think could potentially work for us as well. So fingers crossed that that might eventuate, but we'll have to wait and see.
And just final one for me, obviously looking forward, we've got one more game in this series and then potentially a bit more cricket before the World Cup, but that World Cup potentially might be overlapping with some Test cricket. Have you thought ahead about where you'd like to be or where you'd like to sit, whether it's in a potential World Cup squad and potential playing there, or potentially in a squad for the Test match against Afghanistan?
Yeah, that's a very hard question, to be honest with you, I haven't thought that far ahead. So for me, at the moment, I'm in this squad. I'm in the T20 squad, and I'm obviously trying to get an opportunity and win games for Australia when I get the opportunity to play T20 cricket. So that's where my head's at right now. But like every cricketer in Australia, you want to play all three formats. So yeah, it's a tough one, and those schedule clashes are something that it's in this current landscape with all the different not lockdown, sorry, the quarantining periods and things like that. It's becoming difficult for scheduling. So it's just part of the landscape now, and something that, like I told you, I haven't really thought too far ahead. So we'll just have to wait and see. But for right now, I'm focusing on my T20 game while I'm in this squad.
Cheers, thanks Mitchell.
We'll go to Roni.
Hi Mitchell, well done yesterday.
Thank you.
The thing is, did you guys find out something that Bangladesh batters are a bit vulnerable at the leg spin because they have a history of struggling against the wrist spinners? So, is it just good bowling from you and Adam Zampa, or just you guys find out that Bangladesh are a little bit suspecting in that?
Yeah, well, look, I think leg spin has an impact on the T20 format against all teams. I think it's been proven that there's a lot of successful leg spinners going around the world at the moment, and especially in the shorter formats. So having the ability to spin the ball both ways is such a vital asset that you can have. And you even saw Ashton Agar last night bowled a few leg spinners out of the hand to get the ball to spin the other way. So that's something that, as a leg spinner, you've got the benefit of having that wrong and that can spin away. And obviously, if they're not picking it too, it helps as well. So look, Zamps has done a incredible job in the first 3 games. He's bowled really well, and they've obviously struggled picking him at times. So watching that, I knew last night I wanted to use my wrong'un, and luckily enough, I was able to land it a couple of times and get a couple of wickets from it. So it's just I guess leg spin is always going to be effective when you can spin the ball both ways, and it's hard to pick.
Just to add another question, can you hear me? Hello. Okay, just to add another question is that obviously batters are having nightmare in this condition, but this is do you feel that this is the best condition you have ever bowled in?
It's pretty close. I definitely had a ball out there last night. It was it was turning a lot, which is something I'm not really used to. Back in Australia, you sort of have to use your pace changes a little bit more, and I guess try and deceive the batters with your wrong'un and stuff like that. So, but to have a big turning leg spinner out there to use was, I had a lot of fun with that, and using the wicket a lot more than what I do back home. So, it was definitely one of the most, I guess, turning wickets that I've probably played a T20 on. So, was good fun out there. Yep.
Andrew McGlashan.
Thanks, Cole. Hi, Mitchell. Just to follow up on what Lockie was asking about, sort of the time you spent travelling around with the squad and not always playing. I guess it's generally assumed that spinners like a lot of overs under their belt. And I know you can bowl a lot in practice, but do you feel it's a strength of yours that you're actually able to come into these games that might be your 1 or 2 games in a series without a huge amount of work and make an impact?
Yeah, look, it's a good point. The bowling overs out in the middle is, it's like gold dust. It's the best thing, and I think, I had a great 12 months last year, particularly in state cricket for my state there, where I bowled so many overs out in the middle, and I think it took my game to another level, and I think it's something that I still feed off even now. The fact that I've got those overs under my belt, last season, and you're right, it can be difficult at times to sort of gauge where you're at with your bowling when you're just bowling in the nets, and it can be difficult, I guess, at times to know sort of result-wise where you're at if you were to get a game. So I guess last night was a good confirmation of where my bowling's at. I got that one game in St. Lucia against West Indies and didn't quite pan out how I wanted it to. So, last night was sort of that reassurance that the ball's still coming out well, and still able to perform even though I haven't had those overs out in the middle. So, that was really nice personally, I guess.
And last season here in Australia, you had that time out with that neck injury that cost you 6 weeks or 2 months or so of the season. Since then, have you had any more issues with that? Is it something you do anything to manage, or are you fairly confident it was a one-off, slightly strange injury?
I'm hoping it was a one-off strange injury, but at the same time, I'm still managing it a little bit. I'm not bowling as much, I guess. I'm sort of workloads, I guess you could call it. I'm sort of under some workloads there, so just trying to look after it a little bit more. In regards to how is it going right now, I haven't felt it since I had those 6 weeks off in the season last year. So it's going really well. I'm not affecting me at all at the moment. It's just trying to basically, I guess, be a bit cautious with the amount of balls I'm bowling to make sure it doesn't creep back in. But it's flying at the moment. Had absolutely no issues with it.
And I know it's hard to look too far ahead given all the restrictions and things, particularly going on back here in Australia at the moment. But do you think you might get some, if you're in the mix for the World Cup squad, do you think you might get some early season cricket for Queensland in September? Are you hopeful of playing a little bit around that time?
Yeah, well, I think at this stage there's some scheduled one-day games to start the season.
March Cup,
So, fingers crossed everything works out back home with what's going on with COVID at the moment back home, and we can get those games up and running. because obviously I would love to be a part of that. Always love playing for Queensland. It's great fun, and it'll be great to get some overs out in the middle like we just spoke about. So definitely keen to start and get a few games under my belt there. To lead into potentially getting picked in the World Cup. If not, I'm sure there's some Shield cricket as well to be played after that. So looking forward to that.
Thanks, Mitchell. Cheers.
No worries.